Welcome to the latest car to join the pure electric ID range, the Volkswagen ID.5. Complete with a 77 kilowatt-hour battery and an official range of up to 327 miles between charges, it is the high-spec, style-oriented SUV option in the company's ever-expanding range of battery vehicles, with prices starting from around £50,000.
Of course, this being a swoopier, more coupe-like version of the Volkswagen ID.4, we are talking about the now familiar Volkswagen MEB platform under the ID.5. And that means that you get rear-wheel drive. In the ID.5 you get a 77 kilowatt-hour battery. I wouldn't be surprised if that does change in the near future. As it is, this test car is actually the cheapest of the ID.5 versions, so this is the Life Pro. That gets 172 brake horsepower. You can get a 201 brake horsepower motor with the Performance Pro, which is cool. I think probably I'd say that the Mustang Mach-E looks quite a lot more athletic, whereas this looks a bit sort of chunkier. But I do like the fact it's really high spec, even on this entry-level trim. So you get the full matrix LED headlights on every ID.5, and you even get these fancy LED rear lights, which kind of do a little jig when you walk up to it. They kind of do a funny Tetris thing. Look at that. Small things, isn't it? But I do quite like that.
Our test car is actually the cheapest version of the ID.5 that you can currently buy, the Style Pro, which only gets 172 brake horsepower. You can get the Performance Pro model, which gets 201 brake horsepower, and there are even higher spec trims, including a four-wheel drive GTX version.
As for rear passenger space, it's pretty good in here, I have to say. So the car itself is it's about 26mm lower in roof height than the ID.4. But even with this massive panoramic roof, which is standard on every ID.5, I really like it, there still feels like there's a decent amount of headroom in here, loads of leg room, so I don't think there's much to complain about. You even get a nice centre armrest with your cup holders, and there's climate control in the back, plus a couple of USB-C charging points as standard, again in every ID.5.
As for boot space, well, that's compromised slightly by having a shallower boot than the ID.4 or Skoda Enyaq iV, but it is still a very healthy 549 litres of space, plus there's hidden storage beneath the boot floor. However, there's no storage in the nose of the car, so your cables will have to go in that boot space.
The high-spec stuff carries on up here too, so you get your vegan leather and sort of suede-ette seats up the front here, which I really like. Centre armrests, all of this stuff is included, I really like it. I just think it feels much classier up here than it does in a Volkswagen ID.3, for instance, which is exactly what you'd expect of this being a higher end car. You get your pause and play pedals, you get 30-way ambient lighting, your keyless entry, over-the-air software updates, all of this. But then you get no lumbar adjustment on the driver's seat, which really frustrates me because I've got a bit of a creaky back and I really like lumbar adjustment, and I do find this seat, it's a bit flat, so I would definitely like that to be a standard edition as well. I don't really mind the manual seat adjustment, so you've got your old-fashioned straightforward seat adjustment, that's fine. Feels a bit stark in a car that's got, you know, an enormous panoramic glass roof as standard and all of that.
Volkswagen has updated the software on its infotainment system so that you now get smoother, faster responses, and we've not personally had any issues with it freezing. It certainly seems to start up more quickly than before too, and you get all the features you want, including wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, nav with charger search function, a natural voice control, and a decent 12-inch screen with excellent graphics.
I still have massive issues with this touch-sensitive stuff that they've got all underneath the screen, the touch-sensitive climate control, the volume control, all of that stuff. Touch sensitive on the wheel, I just think it looks cool and it's a bit of an ergonomic nightmare, so I still have problems with that.
When it comes to charging, the ID.5 will take around 13 hours to charge from a standard 7 kilowatt home wall box. It's also equipped with an 11 kilowatt 3-phase onboard charger if you have access to a fast enough AC charger. Rapid charging tops out at 130 kilowatts, which will deliver an 80% battery in under 30 minutes.
I think it would be reasonable for most people to expect the ID.5 to have a bit of an edge to the handling, because it is the sports SUV, isn't it? It's the coupe-like thing, the swoopy version of the ID.4, so I expected it to have just a bit of an entertainment to it, really. This feels more relaxed and more touring-oriented than the other ID cars. And I have to say, clearly, I was misled by the coupe sports profile, because even in the drive modes, there's no sports modes. Ironically, given that there's a sports mode in everything these days, even stuff that you absolutely don't need it in, you just get eco, comfort, and individual, and that's it. Even riding on the 20-inch wheels, the ID.5 rides really nicely. It's very chilled, very relaxed, really good refinement in here, really sort of quiet, even on the motorway. I do wish it had a bit more involvement through the steering. It does feel really quite detached. Maybe it's a little bit boring to drive. I think maybe that is my higher expectations, but ultimately it's fine. So, like I said, this is the lower powered of the two motors that you can get. So this is 172 brake. The Performance Pro gets 201. The 0 to 62 in this is over 10 seconds, so this is actually not a fast car. It feels fine, particularly up to about sort of, 40, 50 miles an hour. After that, it feels a little bit tedious. But do you know what? I think for most people who are after a fairly long range electric car, because let's not forget, this thing does nearly 330 miles to a charge officially. Our car with the bigger wheels, you're looking at more like about 315 miles, I think, officially.
That's in warm weather though, and every EV is less efficient in cold weather, so expect more like 200 miles in solid winter motorway driving as a worst case scenario, while around 240 to 280 miles is a realistic range to expect from the ID.5 in varied driving conditions in the summer.
In real world, even on a long motorway run, I've seen nearly 300 miles out of it. Maybe it's the aerodynamics, but I think it seems to be a little more efficient than some of the other ID cars I've driven. Honestly, it just has such an unashamed touring feel to it. It's very comfortable, very relaxed, very quiet. And I think if you go into it like me with expectations of it being perhaps a little bit sportier and a bit more fun, you might be a bit disappointed. If you go into it thinking, yeah, I like that, it's cool, it looks sporty, I like all the equipment, really cool and high tech, I just need it to be comfortable and chilled and long range, well, this is absolutely spot on, because it's exactly what the ID.5 is. One of the things that annoys me about Volkswagen's new systems, the lane keep assist, it's actually really very effective on the motorway, no problem with it there at all, but it frustrates me. So you have a shortcut button here, which is useful, and then you can turn the lane keep assist off and on in the touchscreen here. I would rather have a simple button to turn the lane keep assist off, and I would rather it stayed off. It defaults to being on every time you turn the car on. It interferes, particularly when you're out on country roads like this, so it's a little bit intrusive. That is something that you can pretty much level at almost every new car these days. The Volkswagen ID.5 is really very good if you're after comfort, tech and fairly long range. But I do think it might struggle a bit to find a bit of fresh air in the market, because I've got to say the Kia EV6 certainly drives a bit better. You're up into Tesla Model Y sort of territory for this as well, and that's kind of a more practical option, and that's why I think Volkswagen would do well to perhaps do a sporty version and make this a bit interesting in that respect.
The Volkswagen ID.5 might be a disappointment to you then if you're expecting it to be a particularly sporty drive. If, however, you just want a stylish but comfortable and fairly practical family EV, well, it is well worth considering. Just remember that there are a lot of other options in this class and price range, including more practical stuff such as the Tesla Model Y and the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and there's also cars that offer better value for money all round, including our favourite of all, the Skoda Enyaq iV. Head to CarGurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars. We'll even tell you if it's a good deal or not. Do please like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.